Adele first came out, she's one of the few more pop artists that I really liked. I haven't listened to her new album yet, so I don't know if it's still the same style as her debut album. I'm not sure. But her debut was very good. It was mostly piano with her distinctive vocal tone. And she has that kind of jazz club kind of range. It's not super polished. It wasn't just like put together in a studio by a bunch of record executives to sell a bunch of records. It's her own voice, and it is very well done. Another artist that I mentioned on one of the shows before we went on our vacation, I talked about on our blues show. I talked about Corinne UK. She does blues music out in the UK as well, which you wouldn't necessarily think off the top of your head here in the U.S. that blues would be, something outside of this country, but it's pretty big over there. And she does a phenomenal job out there. And if anybody has a chance, definitely look her up on Facebook. It's well worth the listen. She has new music that's coming out very soon. I definitely recommend it. But since we're talking about it, let's put you on the spot, Shels. How about you? What are some of your favorite female artists, and how do they inspire you?
Well, I've always loved Tina Turner, even though at a young age. I love Tina Turner, but when I saw her going through what she went through and climbed out of that empowered me. That she turned her life around for all after she's gone through. See who else? Cher. Cher is a big inspiration. I just love her to pieces.
Still going strong. Still on a roll.
Now she has pearly white hair now, and she looks fabulous with white hair.
Her hairstyles and colors tend to reinvent themselves fairly often, which that's fine. I mean, people are entitled to whatever kind of fashion choices they want. So it's just interesting to see anytime that you see Cher in the news for anything, it's a different hairstyle, a different hair color.
And also Madonna. Madonna had a very impact, not just being in the music industry, but as a female, because she makes her music industry as a business. I was talking to someone about Madonna while it was eons ago, and I remember the conversation, is that she's a businesswoman. She puts her music, she's a sole property of what she does in her music, and every century, if you look at her music, she reinvents herself. She does. When techno rave was very, very popular, she did Sunlight, or Sun Ray, something like that. And
Ray of Light.
Right. Oh, close. See, I'm renaming Madonna songs too, so not just you guys. But she reinvented herself, so everywhere she goes. So she's a very, very powerful musician, very inspiration, and she's just amazing. And that's who I look up to. I look at women who can actually move stones without breaking a sweat.
Well, we're talking about women who make an impact. Now, I can't really say I'm a big fan, but I will hand it to Beyonce for having the business savvy to do what she wants in the industry with Jay-Z. I mean, as far as I'm aware, they're kind of like a powerhouse in pushing their particular brand of pop music out to the wider world, and they're very, very successful at it. And like I said, I can't say I'm a really big fan, but that's just personal preference. I'm not going to necessarily look down on her for that. But yeah, it's just interesting to see how much of an impact really you can make, even if the world kind of has this perception of the way genders are supposed to be, which, it's 2016. People don't need to get so hung up about that kind of stuff, and you wouldn't think that gender would be such a big deal as far as equality goes. But, it still is, unfortunately, in a lot of places. Especially, here in the U.S., we have our own struggles, but it's almost seems to be minuscule compared to the kind of struggles that people have in some of the overseas countries where they're still women are still property and still second, like not even second or third rate citizens. They're just something to have around, and that's really kind of sad.
Yeah, totally agree. I very, very agree. And it's just like, I don't really understand why men fear women. That's how I look at it. They fear us. Why? Yes, we can juggle 5 things at once, and yes, we have gorgeous boobs and nice ass, but that's what the problem is, because we can multitask and you guys can't. It's not your guys' nature to multitask.
Well, a lot of this goes back to different points in history. Like when you go back to a certain point in history, and you can see where the property thing comes up and where it's male-dominated society. But if you look even farther back, in like Roman times and Greek times, there was actually an awful lot of equality going on back there, judging from records we have from those times. Like in a lot of the writings, there were, even in Egypt, there were women who were pharaohs and things like that, and it kind of boggles your mind, because you see all the time in between that where people were held down or to different standards. And even now, there's people who, you can go to certain parts of the U.S. and people will still say, oh, well, a woman's place is in the kitchen. It's like, how can you still say that? It's right. 2016.
Yeah.
And way back in ancient times, it was about equal, even more equal necessarily to now. And it's just a funny way that history kind of circles around on itself, and you kind of wonder how that kind of thing happens.
Well, going back in history a little bit, because I'll let you guys know I am pagan. I'm very proud of it. And I was also a writer, so I was looking into writing a script, and I was trying to write a script for the Highlanders. I love Highlander, and so
there could be only one.
Exactly. And so I looked into history how I can develop my own Highlander, and so I got into the history of Scotland. And Scotland is kind of like a beacon of change. That's what I'm going to call it. Quote me if I'm wrong, but this is my opinion. Scottish and Irish couples, what I understood reading it, they had their stations. The women stayed home. They did the midwives. They did the cooking. They did even the Vikings. I think the Viking did too. They shared responsibilities in the household. When the men go off to war, they come back and they return to their duties as being farmers or whatever they had. And then all of a sudden, John Knox comes into play. And he's the one who destroys that balance. Women are supposed to be here, they're witches, they're this, they're that. And that's where everything seemed to destroy the middle. And men are belong in the workforce. Men can do this. Women don't have the power to do anything. And any women who challenge that, burn to the stake. Or they're cast or to stone. Close to 50,000 women, or close to that, or millions, across the worldwide, was destroyed because they had their own way of thinking. And that old way of thinking got you killed. You're known as a witch. Or whatever they want to call you, a demon. So, that's how it became the society here. Why women are looked upon differently. It's still in that mindset where people have not got out of what John Knox has brainwashed society. This is my opinion. It's my opinion. Do I like John Knox? What I read? No! I'm watching the series called Reign with Queen Mary and Queen Elizabeth going hand in hand, and they just got into the series with John Knox. Yeah. Great. But anyway, that's the history. That's the history of women. back what I learned, and it's a very interesting a very, very interesting history. So you women who want to know your history, that's where everything is right there. That's where everything changed. And now going into the music industry, it's kind of like the exact same thing. Kind of like, let's go to Tina Turner for a second. Ike, yes, he gave Tina Turner the name. He gave her a parent, but she was the voice. She had the move. She had the creativity. She had her body structure. She was sexy. He was not. He, everyone was looking at her, admiring her, and seeing how great she was, but he was jealous of that pressure, of that packet that she had. So he tried to beat her down, and beat her for who knows how long. And so that's the kind of stuff what happens. Men seems to be envious what us women have to the plate. And it sucks. Stop being pussies and just be equal. You can be part of the team too. You just get off your high horse. Yeah, I knew this was going to be a topic for me.
See, we're back from vacation, and the controversy is starting to flow already.
Oh my goodness! See, yeah. Okay. Anyway, that was my rant, and you had to ask me, right?
Well, see, we had to get into it somehow.
Yes. Yeah. Just know your history. I'm going to say about it, Google women's history and you'll learn. Because I have a lot of friends on Facebook who I decided to come out and say, yeah, I am pagan. And they're like, all this, and then all of a sudden we're trying to educate them. Like, we don't believe that. Know your history. That's all we're going to say about it. Go into your history, look at it, Google it. It's there. It's how you learn. Yeah, okay, I'm done. Shut up, Spider.
Well, that was fun. It was informative, though. It was informative. I didn't know you'd done research into Ireland and Scotland, and believe it or not, a huge part of my background is Scottish and partially Viking. If you go farther back, and one of the interesting things about Scotland is that it's a very equality enjoying place. Like, they have government officials who are proudly Muslim, and you don't have issues with them like you have here or in parts of the Middle East or in other parts of Europe. It's just they don't go around. They're not, because I don't want to make a generalization and say that Muslims go out and blow people up, because Muslims in general do not do that. There are certain people who say that they are Muslim who go out and blow people up, and that's a shame. But there's certain people who say they are Christian, or say they are Jewish, or say they are worshipping some kind of horned goat demon or something, and they're all, they go blow people up, and they're not indicative of a whole group of people. So it's just interesting that you can see a small country like this where people of these different types who elsewhere in the world were having all these issues and we're seeing all these problems and whatnot, and these people are all working together. They're men, women, different religions, different everything, and they are working together, and things are good. And it's a good lesson for us here in the U.S. about how it doesn't matter if you're male, female, whatever, you should have an equal shot. I mean, equality is important for everybody.
Yes, I totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. I mean, like I said, it's not a big deal. It doesn't matter if you have boobs or other parts that guys do that I can't really say. But, because
we're not going to get that controversial.
Exactly. We're trying to keep it clean, folks. The only thing you'll hear about me get into is talking about this topic here. All right, so let me take a break. If anyone wants to call in, we're open the lines up. And here is the number: 360-464-7826. 4216, and you can join our conversation that we are having about